Friends, it's T-Man. We're back with another video on our good friend here, Jason Blaha, the strength and fitness fake guru. So we're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness gear stay himself, Blaha. Blaha says, we only grow from the training we recover from. Oh man, whatever.
Recovery is everything. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And a quick reminder that if you would please click like on this video, I greatly appreciate it.
I like how he is just like swinging this weight up and down for his arms. Okay.
If you aren't following or subscribed, please do so and drop me a comment with your thoughts or to say hello down under the video. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's get over to the point.
Hey, you know what? These are kind of looking eccentric now because he's not doing them full concentric anymore because this is heavy. And when it's really heavy, you can't make it for the what? The full concentric. So he's not strong enough to make it for the full concentric. However, this becomes eccentric for him because he can't make it. Well, that's the reason. But there's other factors. But the fact that, yeah, but he's just kind of like throwing it. It's weird.
Recovery is everything. And I cannot stress this enough. I get people who, they see kind of what I lift. They know my age. I'm almost 50 years old.
Oh, brother, here we go. They know my age. I'm almost 50 years old. Okay, yeah. It's a big factor, age. Yeah, okay, yeah. They know you, yeah.
I move some pretty heavy weight, relatively.
He moves some pretty heavy weight with the assistance, of course, of, anabolic steroids, because that's what he says he takes to lift these heavy weights. So he's kind of inferior because he can't do it himself.
I'm injured. I don't hurt when I wake up in the morning. I don't always have the greatest mobility on every movement. I think we agree on that.
That's funny. Then why does he have so many videos explaining how he's injured himself? So many injuries.
But otherwise, pretty much injury-free, pretty much pain-free is a considerably old.
Pain-free, injury-free, but he's suffering from psoriasis. He has some ear problems. He's got all kinds of weird diseases he's mentioned in his videos. I don't know. Whatever. And he's got a lot of injuries, so I don't know what he's talking about. Now he says he doesn't.
Lifter at this point who moves decent weights, 500 squats, 600 deadlifts, stuff like that. So something that I will say with a lot of that, recovery is everything. Like if you're trying to stay injury-free or stay in the game, you have to focus.
Recovering from something, yeah, definitely. Runners, they recover. Us, sports people, they recover. Us bodybuilders, we don't recover, we grow. It's totally different. We grow. We don't recover. You could say you could use the word recover, but the truth is we grow. That's what we do. These guys who are performing slaves, performance is based on recovery. Because you're exhausted, you've lost energy, you lose energy. And when you give your energy away, you accelerate aging. Every time you go to the gym 5 days, 4 days a week, whatever the fuck you're doing there, going often there, and lifting and doing these heavy lifts, whatever, performing, you are giving out your energy, you are accelerated aging, you are shortening your lifespan. That's why people die young. Like Paula Quinn, all these guys wrote books, exercise, whatever, and then they all die. All right? Or they look horrendously really old, like that I Am Longevity guy. Looks like 95. And he's already 1 foot in the grave. They want to convince you that they've got the secret to longevity or whatever this thing is or something. Like Blaha, the I Am Longevity guy. They do not. Neither do I. I can use studies and science. I can explain stuff. But I don't know if that would equate to it because no study has ever gone that long to find out. That's the problem. None of them have. It can help, it can aid, but I don't know if it could equate to longevity, okay? I don't know. I do experiments on myself physically all the time. I've done different kinds of things so I can find out what the outcome was. But the outcome usually is the test is usually very short. It's not very long term. It's not something I'm going to do my entire life. I'm going to do sarcoplasmic hypertrophy my entire life. Or I got to lift a heavyweight deadlift my entire fucking life. Are you crazy, man? You have to be nuts to do that.
Some fatigue management, you have to focus on recovery.
Now, even eccentric exercise is not something I'm going to... You can do it on and off. Maybe your whole life you could do it on and off. But it's not something you're going to do every single week, week after week after week, forever. You get it? You know, and anyways, the point is, once you get to a point where you're already big and strong and everything, you don't need to do it anymore. That's the problem. That's the good thing about it. You're already big and jacked. And so, yeah, you only want to come and do it every so often. Maybe some maintenance thing, you got to maintain a little bit of it for sure. But not like these lifts. These lifts, what he's doing, performance has to be maintained all the time because it's fake. It's fake strength. It's fake. Performance is fake. It's memory. It's practice. It's nerves. It's not based on muscle.
But I'm going to go out on a limb and say for the younger guys, the same thing holds. I see that with my clients in their 20s. I mean, I do have clients who refuse to get their lifestyle in order. They party hard.
Okay.
And to say that their gains are absurdly slower than my people who don't do those things would be an understatement. And again, on similar type programming.
Anybody that lifts conventionally or full range of motion, their gains are going to be extremely slow. It's going to take astronomically forever. And then it takes on a life of its own. There's no more damage. It happens in the beginning, then there's no more damage. You're lifting conventionally because the eccentric is now imprisoned by the concentric. So it cannot unleash its full power, its full potential. Look, I'll explain this, man, this fucking video. When you lift full range of motion, your eccentric is constrained by the concentric. You understand me? It's imprisoned by it. So it cannot unleash its full abilities or power. You understand me? You get it, dude? So if it's constrained by it and it cannot, then you're never gonna see what your true potential is in lifting. Unless you start lifting eccentrically. And none of you want to do that. Nobody out there does that. You understand me? Because they're stupid. That's why.
Same quality of coaching. I mean, for example, a client like that, it takes them 3 years to gain what some of my other lifters in the same age bracket gain in 6 months. But they accept that reality when they decide to party and live a harder lifestyle.
I love this. Because they start to party, lifestyle, they want to enjoy their life. They're not slaves, lifting slaves, blaha, like you.
But again,
just because blaha, nobody wants blaha, and blaha has enslaved himself to lifting these weights because nobody's interested in him. He has no social life. He has no life other than imprison himself in this garage. You understand me? The outside world's right there, right out that door, but he doesn't go out there. He's imprisoned himself here. The furthest he goes, he puts on a vest and walks up and down the street here, probably. That's about it.
Just a pattern there. And so people hear that and think that that's extreme, or they think I'm kidding, but I'm actually dead serious. So when it comes to recovery, what are we talking about?
Let me tell you something. People are most happiest when they're successful. You understand me? They want to see what they've produced. When your boss, when they come up to you, and let's say you're in a sales office, the other guy is working hard, you're working hard, and the other guy, he's working smart. He's making sales, but you're working really hard, but you're not making sales. And the boss comes up to you and says, you know what, you're fired. And you go, why? I'm a hard worker. I work really hard. Yeah, but you're not producing, get it? What have you achieved and what have you produced? Nothing. People are most happy in a gym when they start producing. When they produce, bro, and they produce, they feel successful. It gives them motivation to go even further. You understand me? That just gives them more motivation. They just put more into it, more effort into it because they know they're going to be successful. But people that come in the gym lifting concentrically and the eccentric is imprisoned by the concentric and it cannot unleash its full power, its full potential, then guess what? Success. There's no success. And there's nothing going on there. And then it takes on a life of its own. It's called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And then you can't figure out, I got to maintain the gains. Get it? Maintain the gains.
We're talking about a few things. We're talking about, obviously, your training.
What are you maintaining? The fake gains.
Looking at your training and saying, okay, how much is too much? All right, so I tell most of you guys, about 12 sets a week for most of you per muscle group is going to be the upper threshold. Now, it's hard to estimate where that is. Obviously, when we start throwing speed work and max work in. right? But I mean, I would also say, well, if you're doing a bunch of speed work and max and speed benching and speed squats and stuff, you might need a little less for pecs and quads. You know, would kind of be my answer to that particular dilemma, of course, right? Because that's the dilemma we then face. But you know, so in the case of example of what I'm training right now, you know, I train about 6 sets a week for my pecs right now, not counting the max benching. Not counting the speed benching, but that speed benching hits pecs pretty hard. So I'll just give
Speed benching. He just rambles on about stuff that just doesn't make any sense. It's weird.
you that as an example. Giving you that as an example. But those are
Okay.
hard, 6 real hard sets. You know, they're
Sure.
repping out 2 plates all the way to dips, as you guys will see coming up. But
Okay.
it's not all about me. It's really about you. So what I tell a lot of you guys, yeah, about
It's not really about him, it's about you. I think it's really about him. And it's about you guys failing. He wants you to fail because he's a failure.
6 sets, you know.
You will fail along with a person that has failed. See, Blaha is failure, but people watch him and then they take up his program 5x5. And guess what? You don't realize this guy has failed, and then you take up his program, you fail. Get it? You fail taking up a failure program like all the rest of these fucking people online.
You know, twice a week or 12 total sets in
I don't like to swear in my videos, but bro, I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous, the shit.
a session. If you're going to do a body part split, that's the upper threshold, and I'd say a lot of my guys get good gains on about 8 or 9 sets on a body part split, like my push-pull legs guys. So that's what we mean, high quality sets, but not just coming in and doing endless amounts of work.
Okay.
It doesn't work, and I've run the gambit of the different volumes of training, and I can
I'm sure he
can
has.
say with absolute certainty, I don't
I'm sure he has, yeah.
make my best gains when the volume is really high.
He's made 0 gains. In over 30 years of lifting, he's made 0 gains. He hasn't made any gains. He's just wasting his time. Do people not realize this or what?
And in fact, I could almost say I see very, very little, even beyond about 6 sets a week, of my actual hypertrophy work for a muscle. That's
Sure.
where most of the growth happens. And when I go beyond that,
Sure.
sometimes I might get a little more, I feel like. But it's much the same with a lot of my clients, right? Just things I've observed. And I think the exception where that comes up for people is because certain people do really higher rep stuff with really short breaks.
Somebody wrote me in the comment section. They say you're not qualified to give advice. What are you talking about? I didn't know that people have to be qualified to give out advice. You can give advice about just about on anything. That doesn't mean people are going to follow your advice. Get it? Advice. That's just all really what it is. Advice. I didn't know they're giving out certificates to give out advice. Blaha gives out advice every day. Is he qualified? Is he qualified?
So they're low quality sets. Meaning, and I'm not against really high rep work, but those short breaks, you get a much lower stimulus.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You're not hitting the upper threshold fibers always on every set when you
Sure.
do that because they haven't recovered set to set. So in that case, yeah, those people get away with a lot more pump volume, but it's also not necessarily giving them
Okay.
much muscle growth. But they might be fine on the recovery end.
Right.
But if you're training really hard, yeah, you got to watch the total volume. You have to. If you're going
Okay.
moderately heavy, sets real close to failure, about 10 to 12 sets per muscle, and maybe have one weak muscle that gets a little more. Again, that's about all you can tolerate. That's going to be the upper limit. The rest of it, diet, absolute diet, nutrition, sleep. So, and notice I didn't even mention supplementation. It's not even a factor. The supplements are a way to try to put
Oh,
a band-aid
man.
on a garbage diet. It's not the best approach. So no, I'm not going to say supplementation unless you're talking about something that comes in a syringe. All right, but
Let's talk about supplementation, which is artificial.
you buy it over the counter, yeah, not really. So nutrition. Are you eating high quality food? Are you getting sufficient protein, sufficient carbohydrate? All right? Is your antioxidant status really high in your foods? So this means lots of vegetables, lots of fruit.
You know, you notice that it's a pattern now in his videos. He just keeps reiterating the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. He's run out of material. I guess it's just to pump videos out so he could get paid, so people could watch and he'll get money.
Decent amounts of fiber,
Okay, decent amounts of
proteins.
fiber. You don't need fiber.
right? There's your key. Are you getting enough sleep?
Okay, I'm getting enough sleep.
And again, I find this is a problem. You know, a lot of times I get clients who are used to really high workloads and getting them to scale back can be hard until they start pulling stuff. They're like, okay, maybe training 6 days a week isn't ideal for me, right?
Okay, clients are training what? 6 days a week? That's a bad thing. Okay, yeah, they're performing. Yeah,
Some of them, they want to do
building and performing are two different things. You can't build if you're performing, and if you perform, you can't build. So, either way.
5. They shouldn't even do 5. I mean, you have to have a pretty perfect lifestyle to do 5 days a week, in my opinion. It's my opinion as a coach.
You have to have a perfect lifestyle to do 5 days a week. Yeah, you have lots of time on your hand. Yeah.
If someone's been coaching for
To
a real long
perform.
time, someone 25 years in the game, yeah, very few people are going to be able to really tolerate that.
A gym is not based on performance. Going to a gym lifting is not based on performance. But Blaha, he's performing and then he's lifting. He's got powerlifting here. He's doing powerlifting performance and then he's like lifting, like trying to bodybuild. That's why he never builds, because it's bullshit. It doesn't work like that.
For long.
But whatever.
Unless your lifestyle's super dialed in. So then we come over to how about
Believe
you focus
whatever
on
you
lifestyle
want.
and training enough to get really
You can believe whatever you want.
good gains. For most
No
of you, that would be a better
gains.
option. It would be a much better option. Injury rate goes down, overuse goes down, you recover better.
Yeah. Injury rate goes down, recovery better. Yeah, gains. And every video, it's about the gains. He's gaining, you're gaining. It's a lot of gains there. Yes, I see a lot of gains. Yeah.
Because the thing you have to remember,
Yes. What do
back
we have
over to
remember?
that point,
What do we have to remember?
the junk volume, any training
The junk volume. Yeah.
that you do not recover from, you will
Okay.
not grow from. Right? And you have to remember that point. So
You have to remember that any training you don't recover from, you're fucked. Yes. Okay.
yes, train hard.
Train hard.
You have to be careful of your total volumes. And I'm not saying you can't do a 2-hour workout 4 days a week.
Okay.
Because sometimes when we're going pretty hard, we need long breaks.
Yes. Train hard. You're not training. You're performing. You people are not listening. You are not training. You are performing slaves. Get it? If you're coming in there 4 days a week to the gym, you are a performing monkey, a performing slave. Now, I'm talking about gyms. I'm not talking about people that are doing things like sports. You know, they're doing sports like, I don't know, maybe they do martial arts, maybe they do skateboarding. I don't know, whatever they're doing there, basketball, whatever. That's based on performance. That has nothing to do with the gym. I'm talking about a gym. This guy's a performing monkey slave, okay? And gyms are not based on performance. That's it. I don't have anything else to say there. So him performing in this gym, that's not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is not based on performance. It can't be, because it compromises sport of performance. So this is bullshit.
Between sets.
Bullshit.
You know, because what about the conditioning? Go do some cardio. The weight room is not where you get your conditioning.
The weight room is not where you get your condition. The weight room is where you damage muscles. End of story. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Don't you think about that? Like, subscribe, support the channel. This ridiculous video.